Thank you as well for the breakfast that you hosted this morning. It's always great to see the sidebar conversations that are occurring in that room and the ability for all of us to meet and discuss and flesh out ideas and look forward to the next one always. So, Vice Chair Maxwell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First off, apologies for not being here yesterday for the YPG tour. My time in the military, I've been out to the YPG several times, and it was great to talk this morning with Colonel Nelson about the importance of that. And I just like to reiterate that. Thank you for the sign from the crowd. That's always helpful. I'd like to reiterate the fact of the importance of that to both Arizona and to our national defense. So I hope folks who got to see the tour saw the value. We are very aware of the needs from Highway 95 and we'll continue to try to support getting those things done, because between the YPG and the Marine Corps Air Station out here, Yuma's got a real important impact on not only our national defense, but the economy of the state of Arizona as well. So I want to say thank you for putting that tour on, and my apologies for missing it.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I just want to say that I went on the tour yesterday, and it was really eye-opening, and everybody was so kind and so nice, and I didn't know what a proving ground was. Now I know, and the critical need that there is, and I shared yesterday that the work done by these folks is the reason why so many of us are alive. I was in the Persian Gulf War, and the night that Iraq sent a missile towards Saudi Arabia and Tehran, I was there, and I was one of those soldiers in chemical suits listening to BBC radio when we felt an explosion on the ground, and we're listening to the radio, and we heard BBC announce that the Patriot missile had intercepted the Scud, and we were so grateful. And that was a moment in my life that I will never forget. And I realized that there's so many people and communities like Yuma that make those miracles happen. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with all of us. Incredible story. Floyd, will you please proceed with the Title VI Civil Rights Act?
Yes, Madam Chair, but before that, with your permission, we'd like to do the roll call so we can document the President.
Please. Skipped it. Karen, would you do the roll call first?
Chair Daniels.
Here.
Vice Chair Maxwell.
Here.
Board Member Howard.
Here.
Board Member Elters.
Here.
Board Member Pashtakai.
Here.
Board Member Searle.
Present.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum and you may proceed.
Thank you. Floyd?
Pursuant to Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Americans with Disability Act, the Arizona State Transportation Board and ADOT do not discriminate on the basis of race, color, national origin, or disability. No person will be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefit of, or be otherwise subjected to discrimination under any Arizona State Transportation Board or ADOT program or activity. To assist in measuring the public's participation, we ask each individual to please complete the online self-identification survey, and the link to that survey is in the agenda. For those present in the meeting who have self-identification cards at the entrance of the council chambers, please complete the cards and leave them there. We will pick them up at the end of the meeting. By completing this voluntary survey, ADOT will be able to determine who attends the public meetings and how the department can improve participation. The surveys will also help ADOT fulfill federal reporting requirements. Thank you.
Thank you, Floyd. We'll move now to call to the audience, and would like to remind everyone that there is a 3-minute time limit. We'll start with the people in the room today, and then we'll move to the individuals attending virtually that have requested to speak. There's about 15 people, I think, total that wish to speak today, so appreciate everyone just being cognizant and aware of that time limit. And we hate cutting you off, but we will if we have to. Not our favorite part. With that, we'd like to invite Mayor Nichols from the city of Yuma here. Mayor Nichols, you're up first, and we'll have Vice Mayor Carol Smith on deck.
Thank you very much, Chairman Daniels and members of the board. Welcome back to Yuma. I believe we were here about a little over a year ago, I think. And so it's great to have you back, always to have you back. I'd like to take first a minute to introduce the rest of the council that's here. We have Deputy Mayor Smith in the back. Next to her is Councilmember McClendon. In front of her is Councilmember Morales. And we have Councilmember Watts, as well as Councilmember Martinez. And hopefully that demonstrates our gratitude for you being here physically, but also all your work over the years working with former Councilmember and Chair Gary Knight. If you made it out to YPG yesterday, you saw the fruits of your labor and his advocacy, at least partially in the field. Fresh asphalt and new striping, which is for an engineer, is always a great thing to see. That means the job's done. But I'd like to thank you for all that advocacy and attention, and even the comments this morning about the importance of that corridor, and the importance of the facilities in Yuma. So again, I won't use my full 3 minutes. I'll turn it back because I know what it's like to sit there listening for 45 minutes to random comments. But thank you very much. If there's ever anything the city of Yuma can do to help support the board, we're here for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate your leadership so much. You've just been a great advocate for the state, so thank you. Vice Mayor, or is it Deputy?
Deputy.
Deputy.
Yes.
Apologies.
Good morning, Chair Daniels and the members of the board. My name is Carol Smith, Deputy Mayor for the City of Yuma. I want to start off by saying we are thankful for improvements in the Yuma region, including the US 95 widening project. That's been a great start for easing the travel between the City of Yuma and the more than 2,400 military and civilian workers at YPG Complex just north of the Yuma metropolitan region. This has included easing the safety concerns as fatal and serious injury crashes have occurred along this highway. In 2025, ADOT completed a $23.9 million project to expand approximately 3 miles of the US 95 northeast of Yuma. This project transformed the highway from a 2-lane to a 5-lane roadway, including a new bridge over the Welton-Mohawk Canal. In 2023, expansion and widening improvements of the US 95 was Avenue 9E to Rifle Range Road, approximately 3.3 miles. In 2016, ADOT constructed a 600-foot bridge over Fortuna Wash to address frequent closures due to flash flooding. This improvement has provided a more reliable route for agricultural shipments, international trade, and seasonal visitors. Although the complete corridor from Yuma through to Quartzsite is in need of improvements, the region's current focus has been to widen the first 17 plus miles on this highway from the Yuma city limits northwards, from 1 lane in each direction to 2 lanes in each direction, either as a divided or separated highway to help avoid the several accidents that have occurred. The economic impact of this route is vital to the country, state, and region, and is critical to the region's agricultural industry, Department of Defense, and the tourism industry. YPG is the largest single civilian employer in the county and largest military proving ground in the nation. As you may be aware, completing improvements to this critical route has been the highest priority for our region for nearly 10 years, and we very much appreciate the role taken by the board and especially the many ADOT employees involved in the Southwest District and ADOT headquarters in completing the first few portions of the corridor. Of the 17 plus miles, the first 7 miles have already been completed and now are open to traffic. The next segment for widening is between Imperial Dam Road to Aberdeen Road. This segment of 4.7 miles is fully designed, but only has $30 million of the program's $76 million needed to construct it. Hence, we are respectfully requesting programming consideration of the additional $46 million in the fiscal year 2026 to 2030 ADOT Facilities Construction Program as soon as possible to complete this segment, which is shovel-ready. We are asking to continue my friend, our friend, the late Gary Knight's efforts in improving the corridor and urge the state to take the appropriate steps to program improvements to the roadway as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Mayor Smith. Next up, we'll have Bonnie Knight, who has listed her title as Mrs. Gary Knight, which I thought was fantastic. And on deck will be Colonel Nelson.
Chairwoman Daniels and board, excuse me. I want to add my welcome and my thanks to you all for coming to Yuma. I also, at the risk of sounding repetitive and maudlin, want to thank you for all of the support that you have given the Knight family over the past year. And I also want to add my desire to see the widening, the improvement of I-95 go forward. I don't have all the figures like Deputy Mayor just gave you, but I know that everything she said was accurate. I really appreciate you all and all the efforts you have made to improve this area. And again, thank you for coming to Yuma. It is wonderful to see you again, and I hope it will not be the last time.
Thank you so much. I don't think it would be a trip to Yuma if we didn't get to see a member of the Knight family. So.
I'm sorry.
It wouldn't be a trip to Yuma without seeing a member of the Knight family. So glad to see you. Colonel Nelson? On deck will be Crystal Figueroa.
Hey, good morning, Chairwoman Daniels, members of the board. I just want to first thank you for the opportunity to host yesterday. We always love telling our story. It's one of my favorite things to do. And also thank you for this opportunity to endorse the further widening of the Highway 95 project. So on behalf of the YPG workforce, 2,400 strong, I just wanted to express our sincere gratitude for the widening that's been executed so far. There's generations of folks, 82 years of testing going on out there, and I know people that have been working there for 40 years doing that commute every day, and to see the excitement and the smiles on the faces of the folks that have to make that commute, after the new year when it opened up was pretty incredible. And I got to experience some of that too. I've been here for about 20 months, so we appreciate that. We appreciate the reinforced tank crossing that you guys have put in there. That was very helpful for us. It saved us and our customers time and money. We also wanted to say thank you for the upcoming project for the roundabouts, because that's going to increase safety for the commuters, coming and going from YPG. And so, talking about the extension of the widening of Highway 95, just to put it into a little bit more perspective, it's kind of widened up to Imperial Dam Road, but we also have a workforce of about 800 personnel that are just north of that at Aberdeen Road. That's where the entrance to that gate is. And some of the members were able to observe some of that traffic coming out of there yesterday. So that's the importance of it for us. We not only have, there's a lot of volume of traffic going on through there, not only during the commuting hours, but you have 18-wheelers with explosives and ammunition, because we do lot acceptance testing for all the munitions in the nation, medium and large cal. So those are coming and going all the time, and then you have maybe 80 tests going on every week, and then you have the customers that support those tests, the vendors and everybody coming out, so they're coming and going as well. And then of course, seasonally you have the agriculture traffic. So just in that area, you'd be able to ease the burden on both domestic and commercial traffic, as well as the YPG traffic that's got going on there. So again, I just wanted to say, I couldn't say how much we appreciate the widening of the 95 project so far, and we're standing by to strongly endorse supporting any projects going forward or any additional grants or opportunities to get funding for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel, and thank you for being here. Crystal Figueroa, and on deck will be Maria Cecilia Cruz.
Good morning, Madam Chair Daniels, members of the board, Director Toth, and ADOT staff. I'm Crystal Figueroa, Executive Director of the Yuma NPO. I would like to welcome you and express my sincere appreciation for your visit to the sunniest place on earth, Yuma, Arizona. Your time and dedication to understanding our region's transportation needs are truly valued. We also recognize your extensive work in our region and across the state, including your commitment to ensuring safe and efficient transportation for all Arizonans. Yesterday, some of you traveled along our top regional priority, US 95, northeast of the city of Yuma, to visit the Yuma Proving Ground, one of our world's largest military installations for testing ground system weapons. 10 miles of this vital route, built in 1957, remains an undivided 2-lane highway. We are grateful for the 7 miles of widening and safety improvements completed to date. I've heard from travelers that the improvements have significantly reduced congestion and contributed to a safer and more efficient corridor. The project remains the #1 regional priority, and the need for continued safety improvements remains a pressing concern. US 95 is the primary access route to YPG, Yuma County's largest civilian employer, and essential for defense operations. The next phase of improvements, including the intersection upgrades at the YPG entrance, is crucial for safety and efficiency, supporting the military mobilization while enhancing connectivity between Interstate 8 in Yuma and Interstate 10 in Quartzsite. Our local and military partners remain committed to working with the state to secure funding for the much-needed improvements as opportunities arise. I respectfully urge the board to consider programming funds for the region's shovel-ready project from Imperial Dam Road to Aberdeen in the tentative 5-year facilities construction program. Addressing the funding shortfall is critical to moving this project forward with the ultimate funding option to complete the entire segment. Thank you for your leadership and commitment to Arizona's transportation network. Your support makes a meaningful difference, and we look forward to continuing our work together and enhance the safety and reliability of US 95. Thank you again for your presence and safe travels back home.
Thank you. Maria Cruz, and on deck will be Bill Robertson.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the Arizona Transportation State Board. I want to thank you for the funding of Cesar Chavez Boulevard in San Luis, Arizona. As a city council member, we are so appreciative. We have been advocating for Cesar Chavez for many, many years. And with the growth of San Luis, Arizona, and all the improvements to the port of entry, we are so grateful. As chair for YMPO, I would also like to comment on the tour that we took yesterday of YPG. It was an amazing experience. My eyes are open to all the work that goes out there, all the testing, and we are so grateful, and we are strongly supportive of the continuing support of the US 95 corridor. One of the things that caught my attention was the way they nicknamed this back-to-back traffic congestion from 5 a.m. And then the after-work hours congestion is referred to as the red snake. Yes, because of all the congestion there is, and so just remember, the red snake needs more funding. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Bill? And Rich? Vitiello will be on deck.
Good morning, Madam Chair and board members, ADOT staff. Thank you for the opportunity to address you once again. My name is Bill Robertson. I'm a resident of the City of Maricopa, and I'm also on the Planning and Zoning Commission for the City of Maricopa. First, I'd like to thank you all for the work you continue to do and the challenges you face every day. Short funding and long list of projects. We understand it, and we at the City of Maricopa, as you know, are engaged on many levels to move the funding effort along for SR 347 expansion. The last time I was in front of you, I was able to speak to you about the growth of Maricopa. Well, we recently have a new housing study that just came out that brings to light even more urgency for the need for regional transportation. So today I want to talk to you about that. The recent housing study now estimates that 7,722 houses are currently needed in the City of Maricopa to fill the immediate housing gap, with 12,000 to 30,000 new homes needed over the next 10 to 15 years. That's about double what I've been telling you guys for the last couple of months. So the new housing study brings to light some new indicators that's going to add traffic, We have our industrial complex that's coming to fruition over the next few years. That's going to add thousands and thousands of jobs and trucks. So you understand the need. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's important for us to come before you whenever we can. A recent I-10 closure last week due to a serious collision that involved some police officers closed both east and westbound traffic of Interstate 10. This moved thousands and thousands of cars through the city of Casa Grande into the city of Maricopa and up 347, and traffic that was heading east got detoured either at Wild Horse Pass or Riggs Road onto 347, nearly tripling the daily capacity of that road and basically creating gridlock for many, many hours. Fortunately, the police officers that were injured minor, and everybody else is expected to survive. So the traffic gridlock from impacts of the surrounding area is now becoming to a crisis point. It's very imperative now that we secure SR 347 expansion into the next ADOT 5-year plan. We know it's up for consideration. We know you have some tough decisions coming up for May and June for your final decision. So we want to keep this on the front burner and encourage you to get SR 347 improvements and full expansion into the next 5-year plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Supervisor Fitzgerald?
Good morning, Chairman Daniels, Chairwoman, Ted, Board, thank you for having me today. You've heard my story numerous times over the past 9-10 years. I got a little different spin today. So, as you know, I'm the new supervisor for District 1 for Pinal County. And I've been working hard on this and with the board members, and I come here today to let you know that Pinal County will be doing a local contribution for $20 million to the SR 347 for Pinal County portion. So we are putting up, and we're going to continue figuring out ways to continue funding this. As you know, like I said, I have a personal about the 347, a good friend of mine. I've told you that story numerous times, and I will continue telling that story, and even when it's funded, because he's near and dear to my heart, and his family is near and dear to my heart. So I have a letter here today from all 5 board members signed for the $20 million for, again, the local contribution that I will turn this into all you used to have. And there's 10 more copies for you to hand out to everybody and anybody who would like one, to remind them that the SR 347 will save lives by getting this fully widened and fully funded. So, and again, we will continue to push this as much as possible. We know you guys have done a great job, guys and gals have really, really done a great job. We appreciate the work you do. It's hard to fund everything that's out there. We wish we had a lot more money, and I'm sure you know what you would rather have it to fund everything out there. But this is so important to the city of Maricopa with the growth that we're having, and you'll continue to hear more from the other people that speak. So God bless you. Thank you very much, and I'll turn this in, okay?
Thank you, Supervisor. Up next is Ron Ingarame, and Katie Proctor will be on next.
Thank you, ADOT board members, for this opportunity to present to
May
you
I
this
ask you to
morning.
just step a little bit? There you go. Right to that mic.
Okay, thank you again for giving me this opportunity to present this morning. I do have to say that I was extremely disappointed at the last meeting in the fact that the State Route 347 was not included in the 5-year plan. I was curious about the other projects that did receive funding and were included in the plan. While I don't fully understand the intricate mechanics of your scoring matrix, I was surprised at what I found. Here are the facts. The city of Maricopa is home to approximately 80,000 residents. There are 63,000 commuters that rely on State Route 347 as daily as their primary route. According to ADOT's own data, between 2019 and 2023, there were 1,425 accidents on State Route 347. Looking at the other projects by county, Santa Cruz has a total population of 49,158 people. This is less than the number of people that are using State Route 347. They had 450 accidents, which is not even a third of the number of accidents that were on State Route 347. Yet they received $18,662,000. La Paz has a total population of 16,710 people. This is barely 25% of the number of people that commute on State Route 347. They had 435 accidents, again, less than a third. They got $63 million. Gila County has 53,000 residents. They had 971 accidents. They got $131 million. And finally, Apache County has 65,000 residents, which is roughly the number of people that commute on State Route 347. They had 427 accidents, again, not even a third. They got $179 million. So these 4 projects alone add up to $393 million, almost $400 million. So I don't get it. Not wanting to minimize the other parts of the state, however, repairing the situation on State Route 347 can help more people, more significantly reduce the number of accidents, and result in less people killed. In the 5-year period, Santa Cruz had 5 people killed. State Route 347 took the lives of 22 people. A modest 10% adjustment in just these 4 funded projects could free up $40 million, a crucial investment that can make a real difference for State Route 347. I respectfully urge this board to re-examine the scoring matrix and incorporate a more human-centered analysis into the project selection. Thank you.
Thank you. Katie? And on deck will be Kevin Beastie.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members. My name is Katie Proctor. I'm here on behalf of the City of Maricopa, and I'm asking you to please consider adding the 347 widening project as a funded project in your 5-year program this year. I really appreciate the fact that we've had conversations about the P2P scoring process this year and had a lot of transparency around that and the opportunity to really kind of get into the data. I'm definitely a transportation nerd, so I love that part of this. And one of the things I wanted to ask you to do today is to consider an update to one component of that data, and that is the economic development factor. Right now, the score is a 0 or a 5 point, and it is basically an all or nothing, and it really tracks essentially along with your key commerce corridors. Obviously, commodities and the transport of freight is extremely important in our state and across our state. But I want to offer you the thought that also the workforce that contributes to the production of that is just as important. And that workforce right now is hitting on the 347 every day. They're going up to the semiconductor manufacturing plants and making the widget. They're going to the university and they're contributing to the R&D that goes into the production of that widget. And they're going into the valley and providing specialized health care that keeps everybody safe and healthy. And that is just as important of an economic development concept as the actual widget that is produced. In fact, in many ways, it's more important. The workforce drives the local economy, and the workforce is an incredibly important part of providing that local economy. And that needs to be part of that consideration overall. ADOT's vision statement is to safely connect people and empower our economy. Economic development is not just tethered to the commodities that travel on our freight networks. Economic development and vitality is directly related to the workforce that makes that possible. The score should consider not only how a road handles that national economy and the commodities, but how it impacts the local development as well. We in the City of Maricopa are working on developing our industrial park right now and bringing thousands of high-paying jobs to our community. This road right now, frankly, is a liability towards that, not an asset. We need this road improved so that we can continue to provide for that local economic development, and we can continue to support the development that is happening in the Phoenix metro region. Please prioritize this project this year, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Kevin? And on deck will be Buna George.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. For the record, my name is Kevin Beastie, and I'm here this morning on behalf of Freeport-McMoRan-Morenci to share with you a highway safety initiative that we're working on with the department. In response to concerns raised by employees and community members in the Morenci area regarding highway safety on US 191, leadership at Freeport-McMoRan-Morenci sought to engage the state to better understand the challenges and explore potential partnerships for safety improvement efforts. Safety is a core value at Freeport-McMoRan. We believe there's a unique opportunity here to engage with the Morenci community to influence driver behavior and enhance highway safety, especially considering that the town is predominantly made up of employees and their families who use the 191 corridor regularly. In mid-2024, we reached out to ADOT, which resulted in Director Toth convening a meeting with her leadership team and leadership from DPS, Governor's Office of Highway Safety, and Freeport-McMoran-Morenci. At this meeting, it was widely agreed that driver behavior, including excessive speed, inattentiveness, distracted driving, and impairment, are the significant factors contributing to highway collisions. We were also in agreement that every user of the system shares a responsibility in creating a safe transportation environment. To address the issue effectively, we recognize the need for data in order to pinpoint areas and behaviors of concern. In response, State Engineer Byers committed to launching a roadway safety assessment on US 191. I'm happy to inform you that this comprehensive assessment, which actually comprises of 3 separate studies spanning a 30-mile stretch, officially commences on April 1st. The leadership of Freeport-McMoran-Morenci remains committed to the safety of their employees, their community, and to exploring opportunities to further collaborate with the state on this initiative. We want to express our sincere gratitude to Director Toth, the department for their shared commitment to safety, and for consistently displaying the ADOT value of easy to work with, collaborative, and results focused. We also want to thank the leadership of DPS and GOES for their efforts. And thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board, for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Una George. And on deck will be Vincent Manfredi.
Hello, good morning, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board. Una George, I serve as the Executive Director to the Greater Yuma Port Authority. And again, I want to thank you for coming out here to Yuma County and, visiting us in rural Arizona, right? So I really do want to thank and commend ADOT's partnership there at the port. So we have been working on industry outreach and engagement, and I want to say that the ADOT staff and the Border Liaison Unit, from Major Orozco to Lieutenant Veloz and Sergeant Cordova, have all been really integral. And I really want to say that the BLU is like a really big copper state advantage, because you've got Texas and you've got California looking at the models and like wanting to replicate that, right? So for the truck drivers or commercial drivers who I have a really soft spot in my heart for, there's so many regulations, and the anywhere from the hours driven to the availability of just fruits and vegetables right in their everyday diet. Knowing that we've got a partner like ADOT that can actually do that outreach directly with them to make their life a little easier when it comes to crossing the border. That's something that I really do want to commend and I want to thank you for. And I'd also like to ensure that I bother Mark Sanders like probably 2 or 3 times a week, all right, when it comes to international issues. He probably regrets giving me his phone number, but part of public service. And so also with my role on the Arizona-Mexico Commission, anything having to do with the transportation and the Ports Infrastructure Committee, I'm always kept on top of what's going on. So again, just thank you for your leadership. Also, because of the growth going on right now in the city of San Luis, the Port Authority has funded a 30% design with Kimley Horn in partnership with the city of San Luis for a possible County 25th extension or an alternative truck route, right? Again, noticing that there's also, as was said previously, so many projects and so less funding. So we wanted to make sure that you understand that you have a strategic partnership here with the Port Authority. We are doing what we can, that's within our coffers to make sure if this is something that's worth pursuing, that we would then come to you and say, hey, we've got a plan in place and this is how we'd like to proceed. So, and I know we really do want to shift the perspective of inspections and compliance like as a safety measure, because everybody that's on the road doing, if they have to get pulled over for
anything having to do with their truck, mechanical, etc. At the end of the day, it's just to make sure that everybody can get home safe on the roads. And not to repeat what was previously said, but we are really big advocates also for the I-95 corridor, and we really hold a lot of gratitude for your partnership on the Cesar Chavez expansion in the city of San Luis. So again, I want to thank you for your time. I hope you all enjoy your gifts, got a little bit of Port Authority swag, and you have got a strategic partner here in Yuma County with us. So thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the goodies you left for us. We appreciate it. That's it. And on deck will be Bill Regenhart.
Chair, board members, thank you for allowing me this time to speak. My name is Vince Manfredi. I'm a council member in the city of Maricopa. I'm also a small business owner and a commuter, and I apologize, I have no goodies. I'm here to speak about the need to include the SR 34070 widening project in the 5-year program this year. I appreciate the opportunity to review the planning and programming, or P2P, ranking this year, and thank you for making that process educational and transparent. As you evaluate projects using the P2P ranking, I want to remind you that only 8.27 points separate the top project from the SR 347 widening project. Within that space, there are other factors that I'd like you to consider, one of which, of course, is safety. Safety is given weights that are different for the programmings. For example, it makes up 25% of the composite score for modernization, but only 15% for expansion. This creates the obvious question, of course, is safety somehow less important for expansion projects, or is that the category might be too broad to truly encompass the benefit of safety? According to the National Safety Council, a recent study conducted by Texas A&M Institute found that 75% of respondents were concerned about safety, and 83% of participants support local governments doing more to improve safety on roads. People care about having safe roads, so that I think should factor significant weight in the formula. In fact, granting higher weight to safety was one of the recommendations of the 2024 Arizona Active Transportation Safety Action Plan that ADOT itself adopted just last October. The safety challenges on the SR 347 are well documented. You've heard about them many times. Almost 1,000 accidents in 5 years, with numerous serious injuries and fatalities. The most recent road safety assessment directly correlated the road's capacity constraints with the high number of rear-end collisions. And if you look at P2P scoring tool, you'll note that the SR 34070 widening project has the highest rear-end collisions by far and the second highest loss score. If safety made up 25% of the score for expansion, as it does for modernization, how would that impact the rankings for the SR 347 project, or vice versa? Please consider safety's importance in your prioritization. Look at the scores. Remember that our shared constituents, they want safe roads. And I understand that many needs are out there. I understand that, the limitations that the dollars have. We all understand that. But the people of Maricopa need your help to prioritize the SR 34070 widening project this year. And thank you.
Thank you, Vince. Bill Regenhart, and then we'll move to the individuals who are attending virtually.
Good morning, Madam Chair and board members. Thank you very much for being here today. And for the record, I am the chairman of the Yuma County Republican Party. I just wanted to thank you for your support and your efforts in the widening projects for US 95 in that corridor. I'm here to support the naming of the section of 95 as the Gary Knight Memorial Highway, and I do appreciate your thoughts on that and your support on that as well. And Gary was committed to that project for many reasons. One was easy access to YPG, the other for economic development for our area, and also most importantly was safety. His major concern was safety, and as we know, that stretch of highway is was very dangerous and still has some issues. So the widening of that project is very important for the safety of those who travel to YPG and for those visitors who travel to and from Yuma. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And thank you for coming and visiting us. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll move to Maricopa Mayor Nancy Smith online. And on deck will be Sharon Walker.
Director, you may now speak.
Mayor Smith?
Yes, are you able to hear me?
We are. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I am Nancy Smith, Mayor of the City of Maricopa, and of course I'm here to speak on State Route 347 widening project in the 5-year plan this year. Complete the funds identified to complete the entire project. We've been talking today, those of us from Maricopa, regarding the P2P ranking, and we thank you very much for providing that information to us. It was very educational and very transparent. And what we're here to do is ask you to evaluate very closely the projects using the P2P ranking. We want to remind you that there are only 8.27 points separating the top project from the State Route 347 widening project. So within that space, there are a few factors I would like you to consider, one being growth. And that should be considered in the scoring, and in my opinion, it's not considered very well at all. As you probably are aware, Pinal County is the fastest growing county in Arizona, and I've shared with you previously, the city of Maricopa is 5th fastest growing city in the nation. Unfortunately, the share of program funds going to Pinal County in the proposed 5-year plan doesn't reflect the growth that's happening here. Nor does the P2P formula take a proactive approach to growth. Instead, it reacts once a facility is woefully underperforming. It is not clear how the P2P considers actual traffic volume, since we all know now at this point with all the facts provided that this road has a significant amount of traffic, way more traffic than some of the projects that are ranked higher. There's very important considerations that need to be taken, such as traffic, but with growth, that traffic is only going to continue to grow. And while interstates receive a higher functional classification score in the P2P process, the 347, which is classified as a rural principal arterial, has a higher daily traffic volume than the interstates that ranked above our projects. So today, the City of Maricopa is relying on the same capacity that State Route 347 had 30 years ago, despite the fact that our city has grown to over 75,000 people. We are projected to hit 1,000 people in the next 5 years, and our surrounding communities are also continuing this explosive growth trend. As we have previously discussed, housing is the primary driver of growth. Affordable, safe communities are in great demand, and the City of Maricopa boasts some of the best. Unfortunately, we can't control the capacity on 347, and growth must be a part of the equation when you prioritize state roads. If it isn't, we will never be able to meet the standards of our communities. We need you to make the widening of State Route 347 a priority today so we can be ready for the growth we have seen to date and what we know is just around the corner. Please consider reevaluating some of these very important points. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Moving to Sharon Walker. If you could please raise your hand. And we'll move you to a speaking role. And then Geronimo Vasquez, you are on deck.
Ms. Walker, you are unmuted. You may speak.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chairwoman Daniels, and board members. Thank you for the opportunity to address you this morning and to speak as my friends from Maricopa have already spoken with regard to how important the infrastructure improvements of 347 are to the city of Maricopa. I've recently moved to Arizona in 2021, and temporarily I was living in Tempe until my house was ready. And everybody that I encountered in Phoenix, Albuquerque, Chandler, wherever I went, said, oh, at 347, wait until you have to deal with that 347. I'm not going to speak today with regard to facts and figures. You've heard that from my friends who live in Maricopa, the city leaders and the county leaders, with regard to how important it is to address the infrastructure issues on 347. I like to speak as a citizen that has to drive it, whenever I have to go into town. Later this afternoon, I'm going to get on 347, and I'm always very concerned and worried about accidents, loss of life, damage to property, what have you, with regard to 347. It's simply overburdened by the traffic and the congestion and the condition of the road. I'd like to just respectfully request that as you consider these requests that we're making, that you keep these points in mind. State Route 347 is vitally important to the continued economic growth and sustainability of the city of Maricopa. As our mayor just stated, it's the fastest growing in Pinal County, Arizona, and I think she said the country, top 10. It really is important to the quality of our life as well, particularly with those who have to drive it every day back and forth to work or to school or what have you. Respectfully, please ensure that State Route 347, the improvement, the infrastructure improvements, widening, the changes to the construction of the major intersections along it, are reprioritized into your top tier, if not the top most important project in your 5-year plan. In addition to ensuring that needed funding is available to fully complete all phases of any construction, infrastructure improvements, or reconfiguration and ongoing repairs on an ongoing basis. Again, I thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to speak, and I hope that you will consider all that has been provided for you today with regard to your decision-making process going forward. Thank you again, and I will give you back your time.
Thank you, Sharon. Geronimo Vasquez, if you could please raise your hand with Priscilla Benke on deck.
Mr. Vasquez, you are now unmuted. You may speak.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Geronimo Vasquez, Coconino County District 2 Supervisor and Chair of the Mountain Lion Board of Directors. I also serve as a member of Metro Plan's Executive Board and serve on the Rural Transportation Advocacy Council. It is my pleasure to speak in support of Mountain Lion's Arizona Smart application for the construction of a maintenance facility. Mountain Lion received a competitive 5339-5307 award for this project and previously received a separate award to design the facility. As Mountain Lion staff maintain their entire fleet in-house, this facility will allow the agency to preserve a state of good repair for all current and future fleet. It will strengthen fleet reliability, modernize the agent's maintenance capabilities, improve mechanic safety, and provide the necessary space for future growth of the transit system. Constructing a new maintenance facility enables Mountain Lion to continue being excellent stewards of public dollars by creating the most efficient space to maintain vehicles and extend the line of the fleet. Our community relies on Mountain Lion to put safe and well-maintained buses on the road every day so that they can access jobs, education, medical care, and more. Maintenance of transit fleet is akin to road maintenance program in that it paves the way to keep people and the economy moving forward. Mountain Lion has a long history of leveraging local tax to bring in federal dollars that bolster our local economy and build critical infrastructure. An investment in Mountain Lion with an AZ Smart Award is also an investment in Northern Arizona. If successful, the AZ Smart funding, Mountain Lion would immediately reinvest the local match for the maintenance facility back into the transit program to better serve the community. This is a significant amount of funding that would allow Mountain Lion to improve service and enhance transit facilities like bus stops and shelters. Thank you for your time and consideration of this application. And on a side note, I would also like to put my support for the renaming the highway to the Gary Knight Highway. He was a good colleague on RTAC, and I really respect his work. Thank you.
Thank you, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name, Geronimo.
No problem.
Priscilla Benke, if you could raise your hand online, and then the last name that I have on the list is Anna Marie Knorr from the city of Maricopa, so you're on deck.
Mrs. Benke, you are now muted. You may speak.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Priscilla Banky, and I serve as the director here at Be Awesome, a nonprofit in Maricopa. I'm here today to not just to speak about traffic congestion, but to speak for the families and youth impacted by it every single day. The SR 347 is more than a road. It's a vital lifeline for over half of our city's commuters. And right now, it's overburdened. Commute times are long, delays are frequent, and frustration is growing. For many parents, this means missing dinner with their kids, skipping story time, or losing a few moments they have each day to connect meaningfully with their families. This isn't just inconvenient, it's a risk factor for our youth. Family connection is a key protective factor against youth involvement in risky behaviors. But when parents are stuck in traffic instead of being present at home, we are chipping away at the foundation that keeps kids confident, connected, and safe. With an estimated 200 new residents moving to Maricopa every month, the pressure on SR 347 will only intensify. The need to widen and repair this roadway is urgent, not just for convenience, but for the health of our families and the future of our youth. Maricopians need the SR 347 in your 5-year plan now. Thank you for your time and consideration, for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the families we serve.
Thank you, Priscilla. And just confirming, Floyd, that we just have Anna Marie, and then that concludes. You haven't gotten any more.
Madam Chair, we have not gotten any other requests.
Terrific. Anna Marie Norm.
Great. Just a reminder, please press *3 to raise your hand. I don't know if I see her online.
Bryce, I do see her as a participant.
There we go.
Oh yeah, she just raised her hand. Okay.
Anna Marie, you are now unmuted. You may speak.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now, Anna Marie.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you, Chairwoman Daniels, members of the board. Anna Marie Knorr. I am on the City Council in Maricopa. I also live in Maricopa with my 4 children. And I'm here to speak about the need to include the State Route 347 widening project in the 5-year program this year, complete with the funds identified to complete the project. I appreciate the opportunity to review the P2P ranking this year, and thank you for making the process both educational and transparent. As you evaluate the projects using the P2P ranking, I want to remind you that there are only 8.27 points separating the top project from the SR 347 widening project. Within that space, there are other factors that I would like you to consider, one of which being the impact of local funding on scoring. As you are aware, the State Route 347 widening project sits outside the City of Maricopa's jurisdiction, but we are not strangers to partnership with ADOT on road projects. We have utilized the abandonment statute to facilitate the turnback of over 30 lane miles of state highway within the city's jurisdiction. And we have worked with ADOT on the projects to improve those sections as part of that process. As we look to the future, we want to see a time when the State Route 347 isn't the most important thing on every Maricopa resident's mind. This is why we are looking to make a significant local contribution towards this project, with the hope that we can move the needle towards prioritization based on all of the points made here today. This local contribution will equate to 1/3 of the unfunded project cost, a significant amount of money, especially for a city our size. We see this project as a priority, and so did our ADOT district, which gave it the #1 ranking and a full district score of 25 points in the P2P. There was only one other project that scored higher than the State Route 347, and that project is also a #1 priority for their district. And it seems odd until you realize that the P2P formula doesn't really give much weight to being a top district priority. In fact, each subsequent project reduces the score by a mere 0.25 points. Unfortunately, this equates to very little benefit in terms of the overall P2P score, despite the recognition by ADOT staff that this project is much needed. We recognize that it is also a need, which is why we are willing to put our money where our policy is. The State Transportation Board's policy also gives preference and precedent to projects with a local partnership we are offering. And so I'm asking that you please consider this offer of a significant local contribution and the existence of these State Transportation Board policies and the fact that this was the #1 ranked project in the district when you look at the project priorities this year. And I implore you to make State Route 347 a funded priority in your upcoming 5-year program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna Marie. That concludes our call to the audience. Thank you to everyone who participated. We'll now move to item number 1, the director's report, which will be presented by Floyd.
Thank you, Madam Chair. While they're getting the presentation brought up, I would just like to let you and the board know that the director and state engineer, Greg Byers, both were called away because we have fatality in one of our work project zones. And so they're dealing with that issue and working through whatever outfall will come from that. So I will give a quick director's report, and then Ms. Mesa Hanna, Greg Byers' deputy state engineer, will give the update, the state engineer's report and the construction contracts. Next slide, please. Unless, John, you have a clicker, otherwise we're going to keep asking you to go next slide.
Okay.
Floyd, I think it might be appropriate for us to take just a quick moment of silence to for people to express what they need to, given the current circumstance.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Floyd?
And as well, our condolences, obviously, and prayers go out to the family and the co-workers of the person who were involved in the unfortunate incident. Director would like to kind of start off with, just some of, we got kind of a late winter hit on us up north, but then when it came in kind of back-to-back storms and hit pretty hard. So some of the photographs here are looking at what the northern crews have had to deal with the past couple of weeks that they have been addressing the inclement weather that has been coming in. We have seen storms that have closed the roads along I-17, I-40, State Route 89A, and State Route 87. So the people affected by that, hopefully they stay careful and will continue to be careful if we have additional weather coming in. We also want to give credit and a thanks to the Department of Public Safety, who worked with us as we've had to deal with the road closures, as well as to help safely get these open again for the traveling public. The emergency crews that responded, there were obviously a number of accidents and incidents along those routes as part of the weather. We've got over 200 of our snow plows and 400 of our snow plow operators working as they address these events. Obviously more snow plow workers because we were running the snow plows 24/7 as we made sure the roads were as safe and open as we could moving forward. So kudos to those teams as well. It's just been it hit us hard. It was a pretty dry winter, then all of a sudden it hit us pretty hard. So the director wants to give a general reminder to everybody, please, when you're traveling, especially in our North Country, the Mogollon Rim area, those areas that are susceptible to these type of weather incidents, please check your weather condition before you leave, and then as you have to travel, please be cognizant of the condition as you're traveling and drive safe. Next slide, please. So this isn't the beginning slide again. This is actually the new ADOT logo that was adopted. This is in alignment with the logo and the branding that the Governor's Office and Office of Tourism have developed. So that is in the process of updating all our materials that show our logo to bring it in line with this logo, this color scheme, and this configuration. Hope you'll be seeing this a lot more, obviously, as you see presentations throughout the board meetings and other literature and documents from the department. Next slide, please. Travel ID is a reminder for those, again, who travel or are planning to travel. This year is when the federal government has required us to have the travel ID for your driver's license, and you're traveling in order to air travel and to get through the TSA checkpoints. Please remember that you need to go to the MVD, Motor Vehicle Division, to get that. So far, we've issued 2.5 million travel IDs, but with the state of over 8 million, we've got a few more to go. So please remember to get your travel ID, and make sure that you schedule time at the MVD in order to get that done. Next slide, please. Now, this is pretty exciting news. The Arizona Highways Magazine on April 15th will be celebrating its 100th anniversary as a publication, a printed publication that is run continuously, no stoppages in its tenure. It's a pretty impressive record, or a pretty impressive milestone for a printed publication. It started out back in April 1925 as the Arizona State Highway Department, and it was started out as a magazine that would provide technical resources for the beginning of our really expansion of the state and our road development. Since then, it has obviously evolved into this fantastic magazine showcasing the beauty of our great state. On the left up there, you can see the first publication from 1928, obviously black and white, and on the right, you can see the newly published 100-year anniversary edition. Those will be sent out this month for subscribers and available to be purchased online. So if you want to look into that, or you want to look into any other elements of the Arizona Highway Magazine, you can go to arizonahighways.com. I also want to quick give a reminder, the Arizona Highway Magazine is in the process of digitizing past documents, past magazines, as well as some of the documents, books and things that they produce. They're in the process of digitizing those, so they will, in the future, and we're hoping that the future would be this year, but at some time in the future, those digitized resources will become available online to be viewed and purchased. So it's really taking advantage of this technology, but to give an opportunity to go back and look at the past history of the Arizona Highways Magazine, the publications and the photographs, as well as the great photographers who contribute to that magazine for 100 years, make that available for those who are interested in it. So I want to give Director Wong to make sure to really recognize the publisher, Kelly Merrill, a fantastic publisher and a great history of publishers on this magazine, editor Robert Stevie, and all of the people of the magazine who have worked hard and just are loved within this magazine and spend the effort to make it as greatly recognized a worldwide magazine as it is. Let's see, quick federal update. Amy is not able to participate today, so she's got a few updates federal for the legislative. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So, 68th day of legislative session. You can see that they're still slowly grinding through bill reviews, looking at bills. 3 bills passed, 1 veto, 1 signed. A number of memorial resolutions that are being looked at as well. So as they continue to move forward, we will make sure to provide updates on the transportation-related issues as we move forward. Let's see, it says here that the one bill that she vetoed was HB 2703, early voting tabulation. That was vetoed. She signed a bill related to IRS conformity, and we're waiting on a bill on emergency measures that narrow the requirement to provide instruction on 9/11 terrorism. What the hell? How long ago was that? Next slide, please. A couple key dates to identify for transportation. March 28th, final deadline for House bills to pass through the Senate committee and vice versa as they cross the houses and the Senate.
Floyd, do you want me to save you for a second? Yeah. Does anybody have any questions on the additional slides that have the outline for the bills that we are watching closely? I know a lot of them are tied to appropriations.
Madam Chair, thank you. only question I'd like, and I don't need an answer today, but if we could make sure that you provide us an update on the number of bills that are actually ads for infrastructure projects, because we always have that case where they give us ads, and I think it's important, maybe not for us to engage, but for those who we know will engage, that when they don't allocate enough funding, it then takes away from other things in the 5-year plan and other opportunities. So I do think this year, with all that's going on, it'd be great to know what the amount of those one-time ad infrastructure projects out there are, just in case.
Madam Chair, Board Member Maxwell, we'll provide an update on the transportation-related bills, funding bills.
Thank you, sir.
There's a great available resource as well. Kevin Adams puts out every other, I think, Friday or so with a list of those directly impacting the transportation plan. So that might be a good one for us to share as well without having ADOT staff do additional work. I do think it's important to note that SB 1617 is the bill for the $49 million of additional general fund appropriation for the 347, given the amount of communication that we had from citizens today on that one. I think that's a great one for us to highlight. But other than that, is there anything else, any other questions from the board for Floyd, or to pass along to Director Tom?
Yeah, I'm passing along. I'm not answering.
Well stated.
That's it for the director's report. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. We'll turn the time now to Paul Pantane, Southwest District Administrator, for our Item 2 District Report. Paul?
Thank you.
Paul's favorite thing to do, present.
Yes.
To the board.
Well, at least it's not monthly. So, anyway, good morning, Madam Chair, board members. For the record, Paul Patney, I'm the Southwest District Engineer, and welcome to the district. I hope your travels were safe, comfortable, with minimal delays through our district. So today, I'll give you an update on the projects within our district, both current and some that have been recently completed. And here's the list there. The first one is our Bay Expansion project. You heard a lot of discussion on it earlier today, but this is the US 95 widening that was recently completed. The project consisted of just expansion of the existing 2-lane facility to a 4-lane facility with the flush median. As you can see, the pictures on the left, that's the Welton Mohawk Canal. You can see the before and after, which shows the expansion of the project through the region there. Next slide, please. Thank you. Yes. So the next project is that you heard probably over the last year and a half or so, the truck parking availability system. The scope of the project here is to provide some monitoring system that tracks the available parking spaces within our 4 rest areas along Interstate 10, as you can see in the photo, both in San Simon, Texas Canyon, Bows, Swash, and Ehrenberg rest areas. The project is near completion. You can actually access some real-time information today using the AZ 511 system. If you click on rest areas, you can see where it gives you the real-time data and what's available. The project is very near completion, and William Charles Construction Company was the contractor. The next project here, this is on SR 85 south of Gila Bend. The scope of the project here is to widen some existing box culvert to kind of enhance the recovery area. As you can see here on the photo on the left, one of the challenges of a lot of our highways within rural Arizona is how narrow they are with the narrow shoulders. And so what this project does, as you can see, it widens the box culvert, kind of enhancing that runoff, enhances that recovery area, because one of the major crashes for rural Arizona is run off the road type incidents. The contractor here is Combs Construction, a little over $2.3 million as far as the contract amount, and we're at approximately 50% complete the project. The next project is a statewide port of entry. It's the installation of concrete barrier throughout the 5 ports within the state here. As you can see there, the photos there in the center, the Yuma, Topac, Page, Sanders, and San Simon. And the scope of these projects is really to provide additional protection for ports of entry, buildings, staff, and those who are our customers that work in there. As you can see, the photo on the left, you can see the new barrier wall with the impact attenuator on the end there. But what that does, you have the interstate there on the left of the photo, and that just provides the safety barrier protection for those workers and customers that are within the port of entry doing their business. The contract amount is a little over $3.4 million, and the contractor is Hawk Contracting. These next projects, I just grouped them. These are pavement rehabilitation projects. The total dollar value is a little over $78.6 million. 3 of those projects are on Interstate 10. The first 2 are complete. And the third one, Interstate 1080 to milepost 80 to 90, that's currently just starting construction. Things are getting on their way there, but big investment into Interstate 10, a little over $63 million there. We just invested in I-10. Then we have the other 2 are on State Route 95, and project number 4 is complete, whereas the one in Quartzsite is currently ongoing. So upcoming projects, they're not as spread out through the district as the current construction. These are all projects that will go advertised later this year, so we should be under construction by the end of the year on most of these. The first one is it's called the ARWIS, Road Weather Information System. That's a new it's an existing technology that gives us ADOT data on weather conditions, gives us live data so we know what pavement temperatures, if there's snow. There are cameras and sensors throughout the state, and this just builds on the current inventory that we have. So to give us more information on how to safely keep our roads open to the motoring public. Next project is a pavement preservation along State Route 72. Then we have statewide port of entry sign replacement. That just enhances throughout the ports of entry. It's a signing project just to enhance traffic operations within the ports. Then we have the US 95 Imperial Dam improvements. And this would be, if we're unable to secure funding for the ultimate improvements, this would focus the improvements on the key intersections of that corridor along with some pavement rehabilitation. Then the last project there on State Route 85, that's near the Gila Bend Airport. For those who travel there regularly, it's kind of 2 lanes there. And the scope of that work would be to expand the roadway to have 2 lanes in each direction. So much needed improvement there. And the next group of projects, we have some local projects. Most of these are HSIP projects, which comes through the 5-year program, and all those enhance the safety of the local system. And for our district, we administer a lot of those local projects, so they're very important for us to make sure these projects get implemented and to improve the safety of our roadways. Then the big expansion project there, the Cesar Chavez Boulevard roadway, that project is an expansion within the city of San Luis. You heard discussion on it earlier today. That project's one of the most biggest projects for a local project in our region. It's approaching $60 million of new construction, and look forward to implementing that project for the area. Then just following up on this I-8 South Frontage Road turnback. If you recall, this was a condition of an AZ Smart Fund received by the city of Yuma. We're turning back approximately 2.5 miles of a frontage road that's in the city of Yuma that's parallels Interstate 8, as you can see it there on the photo on the right. On this corridor, this little segment has really a local type characteristics for a roadway, and so it's in best interest of ADOT to abandon this section. And so currently, we're working with our federal partners, both BLM and FHWA, on some of the administrative efforts here. Earlier this week, the City of Yuma approved the IGA, so that will be executed, and we anticipate the actual abandonment resolution coming to the board later this summer. Any questions? Thank you.
Any questions from, yep, you may.
Sorry, Madam Chair, you know I am. Paul, it's more of a question because I don't know who's actually responsible for it. I've flown into the Gila Bend airport multiple times in the last couple of weeks. We're breaking in some stuff on our airplane, and it's great to go up there. Very busy airport, uncontrolled. Doesn't have a control tower or anything. We've had a horrific accident down in Brandon, another uncontrolled tower situation. A lot of solo student pilots flying in and out there. It's a great place for the young folks to go and get a lot of pattern work. One thing that I found unique about it is and it's all annotated and noted, so it's you know about it going in, but there is a large growth of shrubs and trees just short of the runway. And when we were up there with one of our pilots, he had to change what I call his normal landing profile because of those trees. And I'm just worried about it. I don't know if that's the responsibility of the airport or if that's something because of our oversight of the airport investment funds, if there's anything we can do on that as well. But I don't think those shrubs and trees necessarily parlay anything with the local community that they would not want those to be probably reduced, if not removed, to provide a safer landing environment.
No, we can get with our aeronautics division director, and he can reach out to the Gila Bend Airport and see if we can resolve that issue.
Yeah, the airport's doing everything right. It's noted, they're going to be there, you're aware of them, but it's still, when looking around that region and the growth going on around it, it didn't seem like it was impeding on the airport. I thought it might be something they could take some action on now that will prevent something potentially from happening in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Sure, I have one quick question for Paul. In the current 5-year program, we have the Imperial Dam, the 95, budgeted for construction at 32 million and some change. And I'm noticing that the new construction cost is 76 million, is that correct?
That's correct. The most current estimate that we have is approximately 76 million.
Was there a scope change, or was it just...
See, one of the concerns is we don't want to lose the appropriation. So we're having a plan B, and our plan B is if we're unable to secure the funding for the ultimate project, was an additional 40+ million. We wanted to just go forward and improve the intersections there's 3 intersections that are in need of improvement. And also we would do some pavement rehabilitation in the middle of those intersections to satisfy, to help us to get through until we are able to secure funding for the ultimate condition.
Okay, thank you. And it's good to see you again.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Madam Chair, please. Thank you, Madam Chair. I noticed that in the presentation you had road weather information systems. How will the NOAA budget cuts impact what projects you have going forward, and can you keep us in the loop as far as those impacts? And I would think that NOAA is part of your project, how you get the weather, but
when we have weather events, we do get updates directly from NOAA staff. There's like a group meeting where they fill us in on the type of weather coming in, the impacts it'll have. I think this system is independent of NOAA, and so these are tools that we use as an agency to help our maintenance crews know when to pre-treat roadways and know the conditions, because there's cameras we can see. You know, you can get on AZ 511 and click on RS, you can see the snow events and stuff, and it's really a tool to help us with our maintenance operations.
Thank you, that's good to know.
Thank you.
Yeah. Seeing no other questions, thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
I apologize for mispronouncing your last name as well today. So
No,
Patman.
that's fine.
I'm getting, it's not shampoo, it's Patman. We'll move on to agenda item 3, the consent agenda. Does any member of the board have an item that they want removed for additional discussion from the consent agenda? Okay, and I would entertain a motion that does include the amendment that was provided to us a couple of days ago, which has the minutes from our September 20th, 2024 meeting. And I will make one request from staff, and that is, I'm forgetting now, like it's been enough time that I'm forgetting when I reread the minutes if there was any adjustments or changes. So if we could make a concerted effort to get caught up on those over the next couple of weeks, I think even using AI tools and things like that might also assist us in getting those done a little bit faster. So maybe we look into some of those options. I know a lot of municipalities are now using an AI generated meeting minutes, and it obviously has to be edited by an individual, and that takes time and staff hours. But if we could get caught up, because I'm not able to recall as well 6 months ago from our meetings. So with that, we'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as published with the amendment.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 And Board Member Searle, I almost forgot you were there. I apologize.
That's an aye for the motion.
And please don't hesitate to speak up if you have any questions. I apologize, I haven't called on you.
And Madam Chair, can I make one request?
Please.
I actually love the idea that we had to do an amendment for the minutes because it makes it so much easier to print the package out without having to figure out when the minutes start, when they stop, and do that. So I don't know if there's a way to send it out as 2 pieces in the original agenda, but it really does for us elderly, old school people that like to have the paper copies in front of us. It sure made it a simplified process. So I actually appreciated that we had to amend the agenda. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, Madam Chair and Mr. Maxwell. We'll look at how we can formulate that to make it easier in the future.
I feel like we're becoming a high maintenance board, so I apologize. Not just you, it's me too.
Madam Chair, it's only because the director's left and now we get to deal with Floyd, so he's enjoying our honor of talking with him so much.
All the hard questions.
He loves us.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll move to agenda item 4. It's our financial report with Christine Ward. This item is just for information and discussion.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome. All right, thank you. Good morning, board members. Very briefly, really want to thank the UMA Proving Grounds. It was a great tour yesterday and really makes you appreciate what those folks are doing for us.
Christine, can I ask you to get a little closer to the mic just for those, particularly online? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. How's this? That better? Not too loud? All right, this will be a pretty brief report, and it's happily a brief report because we are so on target with our revenue projections. Just a quick understanding, the purpose of these, if these projections were not on target, that's when we have to start considering modifying the program. That's why this is important. That's why it's worth telling you. Again, so Highway User Revenue Fund, with regards to our report for this month, we are on target range, within target range, on pace to achieve a little over $1.8 billion worth of revenues into the fund. That then gets distributed to all our beneficiaries, including the State Highway Fund, which supports the program, the 5-year program. So $1.8 billion is our target, and we have collected almost $1.2 billion of that estimate. With regards to the individual categories, there's really not much to show you here. We're just right within where we should be. You'll see we're 0.7% for the month of February. We're 0.7% above last year. That's really not significant growth, but we didn't project significant growth. And we are a little bit behind forecast for the month of February. Moving on to the Regional Area Road Fund. Excuse me, I might have misspoke on something that was March. No, there we go. There we go. I didn't turn the page. Goodness gracious. So for the regional area road fund, you can see within target range, almost $450 million collected. Our estimate for this fund is $765 million for the year. Our individual categories, again, not much to report here. We are stable. Let's enjoy that. In terms of report, just a touch for the federal program, federal funds update. Keep in mind we were on a continuation bill through March 14th. We slid into home base. Congress slid into home base, and we got a continuing resolution. We have a meeting next week with FHWA to kind of get some further understanding of that continuation. And other than that, we're just very happy that Congress passed a continuation budget. With that, it concludes my report, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Board Member Elders?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Christine, I do have a question for you. Going back to perhaps the first slide where you talked about strong and moderate and significant. I look at the numbers and the percentages, and I see moderate growth, and then I see moderate decline, and so on. What is the benchmark? What's the guideline for you when you call it moderate or strong? Because it seems to be sort of all over the place. So can you help me understand that a little bit better? Thank you.
Chairwoman Daniels, Board Member Elders, we have a very specific formula we follow. As you might expect, we have very specific guidelines that we follow that determine whether something falls into the classification of moderate or strong or slow or weak. And I believe what it is we look, and I haven't looked at them in a little while, but I can get them. They're all documented. And we look at the historical revenues, and I believe it's over a 10-year period, to see what the growth rates have been over that historical period. Then we take those growth rates and we classify them into various ranges of strong, moderate, or weak growth. I can get you the specifics of those because I cannot remember those specific ranges that throw them into those categories. But there's standard work associated with this. We don't go, oh, I'll be darned, that looks a little weak this month. Would you like me to? I can send you a little email and you can read it before bed if you have some, insomnia.
Madam Chair, Christine, that would be great. I'm not just looking into the formula and all the details, just really wanted to understand when it's a minus X versus plus Y, just the guidelines or the ranges, just for a better understanding. So it would be great if you can provide something. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Mr. Elders, we will give you the Cliff Notes version, but we'll still make sure it's informative.
Thank you, Christine. Any additional questions for Christine? Thank you.
Thank
we'll
you.
Now move to agenda item 5.
Thank you.
Nicole, yes. For our multimodal planning division report, this again is for information only.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Madam Chair and the members of the board. I hope you are all doing well this morning. My name is Iqbal Hussain, Deputy Director of the Multimodal Planning Division. Now I will present items 5A and 5B. But I will start with item 5A, Tribal Transportation Update. I would like to provide an update on an important initiative that ADOT is currently leading. ADOT is developing a training course on effective tribal engagement for ADOT personnel. This project is being led by ADOT's Multimodal Planning Division and Environmental Planning Group. The goal is to ensure that ADOT personnel have the necessary tools and knowledge to effectively engage with tribal communities. To develop this training, we have been working closely with our tribal partners. Through this training, we aim to strengthen ADOT's intergovernmental relationships with tribe, educate ADOT personnel on tribal sovereignty, beliefs, values, and priorities. We provide clear guidance on how to engage with tribes in a respectful and effective manner. Looking ahead, we are committed to finalizing this training and rolling it out to ADOT personnel by June 30th, 2025. I'm happy to share an update on the Arizona Strategic Highway Safety Plan, Tribal Lands Emphasis Area. As part of our ongoing commitment to improving roadway safety in our state, we are actively implementing the Strategic Highway Safety Plan to enhance safety in tribal communities. One of the key developments in this effort is that the leadership of Akechian Indian community has agreed to chair the emphasis area. Their role will be instrumental in leading quarterly meetings, overseeing action item assignments, and guiding the discussions. Currently, 5 tribes are actively participating in this emphasis area, and we continue to encourage additional tribal communities to join in the important initiative. To continue this momentum, our second quarterly emphasis area meeting is scheduled for today as we speak to discuss the progress and engage more stakeholders in this effort. This concludes my presentation on tribal transportation updates. Thank you.
Any questions from the board? I have one quick question.
Sure.
There are 5, you said, tribal nations that are participating in this effort.
Correct.
How many tribes are eligible to participate in this? I just wonder how representative.
Total 18.
Okay, so we have quite a few tribes that we would like to engage with in order to proceed. I think it might be a more comprehensive report if we can get additional tribal contribution.
Absolutely.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Thank you for bringing that up. Also, there is 23 tribes in the state of Arizona. And so my question coming from yours, off of yours is, why aren't the other 5 tribes considered eligible? And yeah, thank you.
Okay. Right.
Do you have an answer for that particular question? If there's 18 eligible tribes to participate, but 23 total in the state, what would be the differential between those 5 that are not eligible?
I do not have the answer, but I will be happy to get the answer for you.
Terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think all tribes are eligible. I think it has a measure of when we reach out and we invite them to participate, who chooses to participate. So I don't know if it was just 18 that are eligible. I don't see why all tribes would be eligible within our strategic highway safety plan because it covers that statewide. So I mean, I think I would ask if Paula, you would clarify that just to make sure there's not some other condition that we're not aware of.
Madam Chair, I just want to make a comment that all the tribes are really diverse and different, and I think I can guess at some of the reasons for the others, like Havasupai at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, right? And so their transportation is mostly flight and mule. And then another example would be the Pueblo of Zuni, which is most of their land base in their capital, and their actual population is in New Mexico, but they have some land along there, the New Mexico border. So just each one is different, but it would be good to have the specific details, just so we know. Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair and Board Member Besley, I'll provide this information to you and clarify.
Thank you. And if there are additional ways that the board could support, what I'm hearing is support for this effort from the board. And so if there's additional ways that we can assist in engaging with the tribes to have more participation. I think that would be something in our respective districts that we could support and help.
I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll go to 5B.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Then I'll move on to item 5B, public comment period for the tentative 5-year program update. All right, sorry. Back.
There's the back button down here.
Oh,
Up here.
one more.
There you go.
Okay, good. So today I would like to provide an update on the public comments we have received as of March 14 for the tentative 2026 through 2030 5-year program. The public comment period opened on March 3rd. This slide shows a quick reminder of where we are in the development process. As I mentioned, the public comment period began on March 3rd, which we'll review in the next slide. To engage the public, we have implemented a comprehensive outreach strategy. This includes news releases, targeted emails to nearly 13,000 GOV delivery subscribers, social media outreach, and promotional efforts on ADOR's website. As shown on the box on the lower left-hand corner, we have received close to 300 comments through the online survey form. In addition, the public has been able to provide feedback through our other channels like email, board meeting comments, phone calls, and letters. The box on the right side highlights the transportation modes the public is commenting on. As expected, the majority of feedback has been focused on our highway projects. This slide shows the specific routes that have received at least 10 comments. So far, the key themes from public input includes the widening of SR 347, widening and other improvement on I-10 in Maricopa and Pima County, expanding I-17 to 3 lanes between Phoenix and Flagstaff, and multiple projects requests on US 60, including widening and resurfacing from Loop 303 to Wickenburg, improving signage at the Loop 303 US 60 interchange, and widening US 60 in the East Valley from Mesa to Gold Canyon. Lastly, we have provided an Excel file containing all public comments to the board. This slide includes a brief guide on how to navigate the file. So this concludes my presentation on a 5-year program. I am happy to answer any question you may have.
Questions on the public comment process?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I just would like, since we're kind of on the 347 and the 5-year plan, I just want to share some of my sharp pencil, if that's okay. Just an overview on the current funding and the appropriations that are going before budget session. So the entire projects that we saw last month totaled $145,300,000. We see commitments, estimated commitments from local governments of $70 million. That's a little less than half. When you go to just the widening from Maricopa to the I-10, the total of that was $120 million. Again, we have an estimated $70 million commitment from local governments, which leaves a $50 million shortfall for that segment. There's House Bill 2557 that I believe has passed and gone to the budget process for $16 million, which leaves a $34 million shortfall for that segment. So just a couple of quick questions I have, and I may be totally off base here, but we see the number of comments. 80% of the comments that have come through for the 5-year plan have been on the 347. That's got to have some merit. We've got, I feel very, very strong, as everyone else does, we've got to get this programmed somehow. I don't know if there's an opportunity to, based on the funding that we have, because it obviously has to be funded, if we can break it into 2 phases somehow. I know a bottleneck's a bottleneck, but a shorter bottleneck's better than the bottleneck we have right now. To get 1 phase program. Is it possible to look at the, I believe $31 million is what we have budgeted for the resurfacing of the 347, I think that's off the cuff. Is it, I don't know how much of that project is going to be undone when we do widen on the resurfacing, if we're resurfacing and then adding the other lanes. I don't know how all that works. And as far as the grade of that road, could we use those monies towards the widening and then resurface and widen at the same time? I'm just throwing some ideas and thoughts out here since we're somewhat on the subject right now. So that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Howard. We had discussed in January having some additional work study sessions for the board on some specific projects that we have a tremendous amount of public comment for. I think we have enough information now from even the initial public comments for us to proceed with that. So I'm jumping ahead to item number 10 right now, but Floyd, can we get a work study session scheduled that would allow us to really flesh out some of these ideas and hear directly from ADOT staff who would be needing to implement on some creative approaches to some shifts?
Madam Chair, board members, absolutely. I guess I took it as, since we're still in the public comment period, we're going to be collecting comments until May, that comments like Board Member Howard said, we keep those and we work towards those. But if you remember, after the public hearing in May is we have the work study session to review all the comments, to review all the analysis ADOT did, and to make the final discussions with the board. I thought that's where you wanted to discuss those final, what can we do, what are our options, where would we go?
I think we need to move specifically this one up a little bit, because what I don't want to do is I don't want us to get to May and decide that we don't have enough time to flesh out some of the ideas. So I would prefer that we proceed sooner rather than later on May. And if I have board support, hopefully on something to that nature.
Madam Chair, I'd echo that, and at a minimum, I mean, I think it doesn't have to be a long study session to flesh it out. I want to, thank Member Howard for taking the lead. You've been very vocal on this issue, and it is one that, there's always truth to. Engagement makes progress. The biggest thing that I know, the last time we briefed, we talked about the dates of when certain items and certain efforts towards the end game would be possible. So I think now that we've got, the $20 million coming from the county was a big statement today. To the point of having $70 million in local funding is huge in the infrastructure world today, because it's so tight. But I think if we can get it good, just even if it's just information, Floyd, via email when we're not, without violating any open meeting laws, but just providing information to us, no discussions on our part. Just keep us informed on what are these dates, critical dates for the project. Because I know at some point was, well, we can't get to it for 3 years anyway. Well, that's okay, but how can the money they've got committed now move this effort forward and start it in parts, maybe even still keeping it as a single project so it doesn't significantly increase the cost. But I think if we wait till May, there's going to be a lot of conversation. I'd like to be smart when we hit that date. And I think we can do that through more communication with staff and to the chair's recommendation. It doesn't have to be a long meeting. It's a 20-minute, 30-minute update so we are knowledgeable and we're not sitting here saying, okay, what's staff say?
Yeah, I think it merits probably an hour of our time, for sure, and so I would like us to proceed that way. Board Member Pacheco?
Madam Chair, I want to make sure that we reach out to the tribes and keep them in loop and make sure that we don't go on with the meetings without them. And then also thank you for your leadership. I think it's a great call, and the other members too. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and I don't want us to get off agenda. I feel like maybe we were creeping that way. So let's it's fine. So let's agendize this for a board study session and then allow free flowing dialogue around it. I do want to check with the board to see if you all received the ranking sheet for the top 10 projects. Did you all receive that via email? I asked for it specifically at the last meeting, and I followed up and did get a copy of it, but I would like the rest of the board to be able to have that same information if possible. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other questions on the public comment? And I am anticipating a lot more public comment between now and the deadline of May 16th. So appreciate everyone's effort to make sure the word gets out. I know I've been mentioning it at every transportation meeting that I have had over the last couple of months that this was coming. So I'm sure you will have to. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is item number 6. AZ Smart Fund program will be presented by Lisa Danka, and after that I will return with item number 7. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, members. For the record, I'm Lisa Danka, and I run the AZ Smart program. We have a quick update for you with regard to the new applications. Actually, you've seen this previously, but the Gila County app has not come to you yet. I do anticipate that will be in the next month or so. We have made some revisions to the RFGAA. I want to be very clear that there were no policy changes or no changes to the priority criteria. There were no substantial changes to the RFGAA.
Lisa, I'm sorry to interrupt. RFGAA.
I'm sorry. Request for Grant Application and Agreement.
Thank you.
RFGAA.
It lost me for a second.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with some of the transportation.
Yeah, no kidding. We did make some revisions to the applications, or to the application. We have added a number of new questions that help elicit the information that we really need to better facilitate the courtesy technical review that we do for every application. So these new questions are related to how close is the project to a railroad, to an irrigation facility, a utility, what are the environmental issues, and is there any formula federal aid in it? So it's nothing substantial. It just helps us better review these applications. And because of those changes, we have made some updates to the application instructions. We did update standard terms and conditions. There were 3 new ones added, either as a result of recent legislation or legal action. And those include changes to Title VI, the employment of ethnic Uyghurs, and the Boycott of Israel. Everything has been updated on the website. It's very clear the elements that have been changed. They're marked in big red letters, and we have also put out a new version of the question and answers on AZ Smart, which explains all of these changes. As usual, we show you this slide before we look at the applications coming before you today, just as a reminder of the eligibilities for the program. Again, the yellow information, highlighted information here, the critical points in the new program. First of all, any entity eligible for a federal discretionary grant for surface transportation is now eligible for AZ Smart. And secondly, DOE's applications, design and other engineering services, Madam Chair, those applications are required to submit a federal discretionary grant within 2 years of the date that the board awards the funding. So with the expansion of the program, this month we have a new type of applicant in the door. It is a transit application from Northern Arizona Intergovernmental Public Transportation Authority, NAPTA, doing business as Mountain Line. The entity was awarded a $16.3 million grant in June of 2023 by the FTA, and that was for buses and bus facilities. It is going towards a project estimated at $20.447 million, and the match is, the required match on that grant was $4,089,500. The Flagstaff Transit Tax is providing 50% of that required match, and they are requesting the balance of that match from AZ Smart. The application falls into the munis over 10,000, our most beloved category by our applicants. They are going to administer the project themselves, and they do say the project can proceed without assistance. You see the score there is 41, and it was the only application in the mix this month, so it scored 1 first. The project itself, as you can see, and the in the public comment did a very nice job of explaining it. It's going to construct 6 new maintenance bays with heated floors, a roof tall enough to be able to lift the buses. There's going to be an overhead crane, and it will improve ventilation. And this will allow mechanics to actually close the bay doors so that they're not working in freezing cold, eliminate exposure to cold stress, reduce heating costs, energy consumption, and reduces their exposure to toxic fumes, chemicals, and particulates. For your information, here are the priority criteria scores and ranking and the technical and financial capacity. As you can see, the safety score, usually if it addresses 2 or more safety considerations, it would score 15 for safety. In this case, the evaluators agreed with, safety for non-motorized users, but the maintenance of safety personnel they felt was not aligned with the emphasis areas that are identified in the Strategic Highway Safety Plan as discussed in the RFGAA. So they took it down to 10. Again, it is half of this match is coming in from the applicants, so they got a point there, and partnering full 5 points there. With regard to technical and financial capacity, again, we bring this to you if they intend to be a direct recipient, because this means that they're going to have to front all of the bills, pay them out, and then wait for reimbursement. So with regard to technical capacity, NAPTA has received a previous federal discretionary grant for this project to design it. In addition, they routinely receive federal formula funds. With regard to financial capacity, you can see their quick ratio there. They are typically above 1.0. It moves around a little bit. I'm sure that's a timing issue. Quick review of the financials. We are looking at munis over 10. There is adequate funding in this category. They are asking for the $2.447,150,000. That will leave a balance in this category of $1.7 million and change. Geographic distribution impact. If you award this application today, these are the changes that will occur. Coconino County will, the number of applications that they have submitted and that have been awarded go up to 8, and $14 million total for the county. MetroPlan, this will be their 3rd application, both submitted and awarded, and their share will go to $7.447 million or 14.28% of the overall fund. And by board district, in District 5, very active district, obviously, they have submitted 18 applications. They withdrew one, so this will be their 17th award, and their share for the district goes to $20.6 million, or 39.55% of the fund. And the requested action today is to approve the $2,044,750 to NAPTA for match on their FTA bus and bus facilities federal grant for the maintenance facility improvement project. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just have one quick question. Any other board members have a question? How come we, realizing that there's more money in the Muni 10K plus category, but how come we didn't use the county? How come this was considered a Muni?
Their service area is Flagstaff, so it falls into Metro Plan.
Okay. I thought that it extended outside of Flagstaff city jurisdiction. No.
I apologize, Madam Chair. I'd have to go back and take a look at the application. I don't have it here with me.
That is exactly where the facility will be. It will be within the municipal boundaries of Flagstaff.
Right.
So I don't have an issue per se, but I was just curious how we were, when it becomes a regional, service plan territory, how we're determining whether it's going to be a municipal or a county project. I was just curious.
Thank you. That's a great question, Madam Chair, members. The way that's determined, this did get put into Munis over 10 because that is the location of the facility. If it were a road, for example, and it began in the city and a third of it was in the city and 2/3 in the county, we would put it in the county.
Sure.
It's where the majority of the project is located.
The geographic location of the project is the determining factor.
Indeed.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So first off, great summary of the thing, because you actually answered my question. I've got a little bit of question about the language in it. So they are supplying half of the match.
Correct.
But in the language on here, and this is what got my attention when I was doing the review, is requesting the board to supplant funding they had already committed to their federal grant. I really like to think of these smart funds enhancing opportunities to do things we wouldn't do otherwise. And now that this is going down to almost the majority of the money now will be out of the 10 munis at 10K. If we were to give this as this project going forward, because the word supplant is what got my attention, because we've done at Pima County, we've had some conversations lately about taxes that supplant other funding sources. And I don't know if that was the intent as much with the smart funds, to supplant funding sources or to make applications and funding possible for some of these programs. I don't think it's going to necessarily change my mind, but can you explain that they already put up the $4 million, and this is going to replace that, supplant the funds they were going to put out for the project?
Mr. Chair, members, based on a review of their federal grant application, which we request when they're asking match, particularly if it's already awarded, they did commit $4 million. The $4,089,500 was committed in their application, and that was they were awarded in June of 2023, so I'm assuming that was probably submitted sometime early in late 22 or early 23. As you remember, we went live with AZ Smart in late 22. They may have already submitted the grant application by the time we went live. But yes, in their federal discretionary grant application, they did commit the $4 million. And our statute, though, does allow us to reimburse.
Understand.
Funder to reimburse.
Another curiosity, I'm trying to just make sure we're not doing anything that's not the intent of, I believe this is all in the intent of what the legislature changes would be, but those changes to make this entity eligible did not occur till 24.
That is correct.
And now we're going to go back and fund, I just want to make sure everybody understands we're now going to fund an application that was submitted in 23.
It was awarded by the federal government in 23.
So but then obviously so that means their application was submitted and they committed. And I just want to make sure that's not in any way not in line with the intent of the legislature.
Mr. Chairman, members, I can't speak to intent. I can only speak to how the language was written, and they are an eligible applicant. The federal grant they went after is eligible under the new version of the program. Match is eligible.
So I'm going to play the devil's advocate on this one. If this year in 2025, the community comes to us to get reimbursement for a grant that was already awarded in 23.
Yes.
You understand my question?
Yes.
How far can we play it out? Because if communities know they can get money back, I would not blame them for, if it's within the rules, let's go after it. But I think that is against the intent of the SMART funds, which is we're trying to expand the opportunity. So that's my concern on this one. And I think we need to also assess the counties or where it falls to, because I understand it's where the project actually sits. But my understanding is the bus facility, those buses are going to go all throughout the county. So I don't see why that wouldn't possibly be able to go into the county funds. And when is it that we can recategorize this money? It's July, is that correct? Because we're getting awfully low on the most populous, and that's why I'm concerned about giving money out of that for something that's already going forward. Where if now we're saying in March, we've got 3 more months before we can allocate these funds. And if we're allowed to go back, there's a piece of me that says maybe we should wait until we see the reallocation and how it's looking, because we're potentially missing out on new grant opportunities.
Madam Chair, members,
I'm not sure you should actually answer that question. Lisa, I'm going to say, phone a friend. I know.
I'll withdraw the question.
No.
I
think it's great food for thought. The way that the law, I agree with Lisa in that the way that the law is written does not preclude them from going after it. And so
Understand.
I'm not sure we could use that as if we're uncomfortable with a past grant application. And this is a little different because not most of them submit their AZ Smart grant application before they go and apply for federal funding, or in some cases they do, right?
And Madam Chair, members, a number of the match applications have come in after either they have submitted the grant application to the feds or even after it's been awarded.
Right.
So this is unusual because it's the first time we've seen this dynamic with the transit, with the transit project. But I believe we have awarded past projects. We've awarded match to them, which has, when you put in a federal grant application, you've got to commit to the match, right? And because of the way the AZ Smart statutes are written, again, there's nothing that precludes them to come into us and ask us to cover that match for them, even though they've already committed it.
And assuming this program continues, this is a short-term problem for us. I'm not sure we want to create new rules for what is really sort of a short window, if you will, since moving forward, those grant dollars, even at the federal level, are going to be shifting around as well. So people will have to be applying for new money. Board Member Pacheco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the information. I just want to, this puts me in a strange place because I'm a member of Metro Board now. And I joined in, I think, October. So I can't really speak to the question that Member Maxwell is asking. But Councilman Geronimo Vasquez spoke earlier. And I don't know if he's still on the line, but he's part of Metro Plan's board as well. So I would have moved this item since it's in my district, but at the same time, I feel kind of a little bit in conflict because of the questions that are now coming up. I didn't see it as a problem earlier, but
I don't think you're in conflict,
okay.
Board Member Pacheco, but I think it's the integrity that you've shown in even asking the question is admirable. But I don't think you're in any conflict. I think it's okay to advocate for things that happen within our districts or.
Okay, and yeah, but thank you for asking the questions. I mean, this is why we're here, and I want to be very transparent about everything we do up in northern Arizona. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'll weigh in briefly. Understanding Member Maxwell's questions and seeing the validity in those questions. I'm also hearing Lisa answer the question that yes, there is precedent. We've done that before, and the legislation does not preclude it. So I'm with you. Maybe this is a question for forward if there's ground to tweak the rules, but for now, they're complying with the rules. I see no reason to not support it personally.
Okay. All right. Any additional questions? Thank you, Lisa, for the presentation. Yes, great work. We do have a requested action on this item. Is there a motion to approve the $2,044,750 to NACDA for the match on FTA bus and bus facilities?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the funding request for Mountain Lights project. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Board Member Searle? Oh.
I haven't voted now. Yeah, I'll vote aye. I understand the concerns on this item. I have myself, but it is eligible and we don't have any competing requests, so I'm an aye.
Thank you. And Board Member Maxwell?
Madam Chair, can I explain my vote?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to be a no on this one for a couple of reasons. One, I think we are jumping to some conclusions on whether it's eligible or not for a fund before it was actually approved as the entity to accomplish. In 23, they would not have been eligible. And I know we made them eligible in 24, but to me that was a line in the sand that was to go forward. And now we're going backwards on this one with the fund. Now, words to Mountain Line, they do an incredible job of supporting it. If you saw the numbers on the chart, it also was an incredible job by the county and the region. They've got the county's got 27% of all the smartphones. And because it takes us so low at this point, 3 months from now, I might be different after getting more clarification on, it just doesn't pass my common sense issue that they weren't eligible when they applied, and because they became an eligible entity afterwards, we're going to let them go back, because you could go back a long way. This could continue for years. So it's something I do think we need to look at. And Madam Chair, for that reason, I'm going to be a no on this application.
Thank you, Board Member Maxwell. We have a motion and a second, and all have voted. That motion carries with a 5-1 vote.
Thank you, members.
Thank you. We'll move to agenda item 7. Our feedback items. Welcome all back up to the podium. And there is a requested action on this item as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair and the members of the board again. Now I will present item number 7, Priority Planning Advisory Committee action items to the board for discussion and possible action. Today we have 3 applications, 3 categories of projects to present. Project modifications, new projects, and the airport project. I plan to group the project modifications and new projects under one motion and address the airport projects under a separate motion for board consideration. Madam Chair and the members of the board, for your consideration, I would like to present the proposed changes to the FY 2025 through FY 2029 State Transportation Facilities Construction Program. Items 7A through 7O are project modifications, and items 7P through 7Y new projects. For the board's consideration, the requested action is approve Priority Planning Advisory Committee items 7A through 7Y.
Thank you, Iqbal. Board Member Maxwell, you have some items you'd like additional discussion on?
Yes, Madam Chair, I do. Maybe I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but these were written down long before this morning. On Project 7B, that's the removal of the Irvington TI into fiscal year 26. There's been a lot of action down in Pima County, and this is my district, and about that there's been articles in the newspaper, and one of the challenges in Pima County we have quite often is every project that you do when you do an infrastructure project is going to impact some folks. So I was surprised to see this there. I thought we had moved it so it was going to be issued later this year, in fiscal year 25, and maybe I misunderstood that. At least that's when the contract was going to go out, and that way it would only overlap the single holiday season, because that was one of the concerns of the area, and now it's to 26. If I'm mistaken, I apologize for the question, but when was this decision made? And if it's recently, it would have been nice to know, as the board member representing that district, that we were going to, because this is a significant project for our region.
Madam Chair and the board member, Vice Chair Maxwell, on this I need to look into that. I'll go back and make sure that I get the answer to you. So your specific question is when the decision was made to move it to 2026.
Yes, and why we've decided, I know we're going to still try to make it happen only over a single holiday season. I believe that the department had said that is a smart move for this project, because there's it will have a significant economic impact if we take it over 2 holiday seasons down in that region. But it's more a little bit of the timing. And if this turns out to be again, I apologize if it turns out to be the plan all along, but my understanding is the intent was to issue this earlier. It looks like you may get some support.
So, Madam Chair, Board Member Maxwell, I'm just looking at the request here real quick, and it does identify that the design will not be complete. Clearances and bid documents will not be ready. So I think, Iqbal, what we need to do is go back to the team, figure out what is the clearances that are holding that up. Why won't it be ready to advertise on? It's currently supposed to be advertised in June. Since we're not going to make that fiscal year, they're moving it to the next fiscal year, but I don't know when in the fiscal year because they don't identify a new advertisement date. So I would do exactly as Mr. Maxwell said. Let's find out why those documents won't be ready, and then what is the new advertisement date. And in consideration of that, are they considering what the impact will be through the holiday season? Because I think that's a very valid point, especially since they're moving it from summer date to later.
That's exactly what I will do. I'll provide this information to you.
Okay, I appreciate that. Floyd, I'm going to ask you a question on procedures at this point. Is what I'm hearing from ADOT right now is it will not be ready by June. So there's no purpose in delaying this decision on this. It's something that's going to face the board. Would there be any reason to defer 7B to the next month's agenda?
Madam Chair and Board Member Maxwell, absolutely not. You can say to bring this back next week. We can take it off the list and say bring it back next month.
All right. Madam Chair, I'd like to remove 7B from consideration until we get more information on it. Like I said, it was one that was in the press. It's visible. It's been a topic of conversation in Pima County. I'd like to make sure we've got all of our information to include, to Mr. Rourke's point, when will we be ready?
Or Vice Chair Maxwell, would you prefer to do that in an individual motion, or would you prefer to do that as part of the overall motion? We can do either.
Overall motion's fine.
Perfect, we'll wait then.
I've got a follow-up question on 7E. It just seemed like an awfully huge increase. The project almost doubled on Project 89. Just would like a little bit more details, if you could, on. I know it was this is my fear of things slipping too. This was originally planned for 2023. It's continued to move. So when we slipped it out of the 2023 plan, did we not adjust the cost estimates at that time, or did we not? I'm just curious how we got to a point where we're now moving through the PRP thing, a doubling of the project.
Well, I'm going to go, Madam Chair, Board Member Maxwell. What I see in the justification here is that it was really supposed to be a passing lane, which was going to be a pretty straightforward improvement. But given the volume of traffic, it says, and considering the safety analysis that was determined, that a passing lane was not the correct solution here. So they are actually developing a two-way left turn lane, basically widening a little bit of the roadway in order to provide additional capacity for traffic to get into a turn lane to allow the traffic to move forward and continue to move forward. So they changed the scope of the project. And the scope of the project required more widening and required more work, and therefore the cost increased appropriately.
Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. Additionally, as you heard from Floyd, the original scope of the project was one thing, and when the team advanced it, they recognized that a passing lane with too many cross roads is not a good safety solution, so they've converted it to a two-way left turn lane instead. And as a result, I believe they're funding it with Highway Safety Improvement Program funds, which is specific for that function and purpose. So I think it's an appropriate decision in this situation, and it's needed, and my preference would be that we support it.
Thank you. And then my last question, and then I'll be done. 7G, it's the right-of-way acquisition for MC85 for the 301 or the 303 loop. So I do understand it, but it's again, we're doubling the cost of the right-of-way from 87 to 163 $1 million, and we're sitting here talking about trying to find, $25 more million to get 347 done, and it's doubling it through the PRB process when the whole entire project itself, the construction of the roadway, is $19 million. I know right-of-way in Maricopa can be extremely expensive. It just, I'm not sure in this format, maybe the only format we use it, but that seems like a huge increase to get a project done that could maybe be outside of just going purely through the PRB approval process.
I can speak to that one. We just had an update on this particular connector road at our last MAG meeting. It is funded through Prop 479, so it isn't directly coming from ADOT budget, if you will, even though I know it all sort of falls into the same bucket at some point. But this is a priority project for, and that right-of-way is only going to get more expensive. And so I do know that this has been something that the MAG region has been focused on as far as acquisition goes.
And Madam Chair, if you could flip to the next slide, please, Floyd. Not to be the downer of the place, I would like to move that we move projects 7A and 7C through 7Y, and that we table 7B until the next meeting of the State Transportation Board.
Are there any other additional questions on the airport projects? Because we didn't go through those.
Yeah, Madam Chair, board members, that's the second motion. We're trying to motion just the highway projects first.
Yes, I apologize.
I want clarification with board member Matthews. I don't understand what you meant. I thought we were moving 7.
We're moving 7A through 7Y, except for project 7B, which we are moving to the next board meeting of the State Transportation Board.
Okay.
That's a great motion. We're continuing 7B.
I think I understand that. I'll second that.
Thank you, Board Member Searle. You followed your logic.
Madam Chair, I'm glad somebody does.
We got it. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Board Member Searle?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries with I can do math, 6-0 vote. That was hard, I don't know why. All right, moving to the airport items.
All right, so then items 7Z through 7CC are airport projects. For board's consideration, the requested action is approve priority planning advisory committee items 7 through 7CC.
Thank you. Any questions, any items anybody wishes to discuss further? Terrific, we'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move to approve items 7Z through 7CC.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Board Member Searle?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries with a 6-0 vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and the members of the board for approving these items. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move to agenda item 8, the state engineer's report. And forgive me, I forgot your name. Ann?
Mesa Hanna.
Mesa Hanna.
When you just introduce yourself when you start, so we have it on the record, Mesa, please.
I understand you were called on deck. So thank you for filling in for Greg today.
Of course. Good morning, Madam Chair and board members. My name is Mesa Hanna. I'm the Deputy State Engineer working directly for Greg, and happy to go over the State Engineer Office presentation. And I will start with item number 8 here. Lots of projects. We have so far 92 projects under construction in the amount of $2.9 billion. And we finalized 6 projects in February in the amount of $65.4 million. So just this fiscal year to date, we have 60 projects finalized. Lots of projects with more needed resources.
And I'm going to pause you right there. And in the interest of time and recognizing that you just got called up, are there any questions from the board members on any of the projects that have been prepared in this report?
Madam Chair, not necessary, but just a minor correction. I believe 9A was on the consent agenda and it was approved, but 9A is on I-40, yet the printed info states I-10 in a couple of locations, and that needs to be corrected.
Okay.
Thank you, Sam. Great catch.
I do have one schedule question. On the Southeast District projects, the roundabout, do you know when the planned completion is on that project?
The Southeast District roundabout. Okay.
It's the
US on 191 and 75.
191.
Oh, and 78.
I can verify. The Southeast, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it is. The project is about 48% complete, and that is. It's only 48% complete.
Okay.
So we still have some work going on, and the upcoming work, including pouring Portland cement concrete pavement by work and electrical work.
Okay, thank you.
I can verify the exact date, not the exact, the estimated date for completion, and get back to you. Of course.
Madam Chair, I have a question as well, and I don't expect an answer at this moment. I had planned to ask Craig the following question, which was, as I reviewed the various district projects, there were several of them that said basically 5% complete, actual or complete, and then yet 30 or 40% of the time has passed. So on those, my question to the department or to Craig would be, are you concerned that 40% of the time has lapsed and only 5 or 10%? The gap was quite a bit on several of them. And why is that? Is that work was being done but not being billed and paid for? Just a general question, if you could just maybe at the next board meeting, provide an explanation, that would really be helpful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I think my first initial thought here would be it could be just a change order work being included in the project, and just to kind of cause that differentiation between what we had estimated and what we have actually. But I will definitely will go back and check and get back to you, of course.
Thank you. Seeing no additional questions on the state engineer's report. That was for information and discussion only, so thank you very much, and the follow-up is greatly appreciated.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so
We let you off easy, I think.
so I don't need to go through the project's update?
Yes.
No, we're going to go right to
We're
contract
gonna-
awards. You got 4 contracts to award.
We're going to
Okay.
go to agenda item 9.
Okay. All right, so,
I got you.
yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
All right, so so far we have total this month we have 13.2% lower than the estimate by the department. So total for the low bids it's 50,591,874, and the state estimate is $58,300,034, with a difference of $7,708,160. So to date, we are still making our ways after the big increase from the Alton Country Club to Keno. So we have about 9.1% on top of the state estimates. So total this fiscal year low bids was $858,831,521, and the state estimate was $786,916,367.
Let's go to that next slide so people can see
Okay.
those numbers.
Okay. So you can see here that we have still above the state estimate by 9.1% for all the bids received.
Thank you. And as a side note to that, Christine and I were reviewing this morning that the expenditure report that we discussed at the end of last year, she's going to present to us in May instead of April to give us some additional time to review the content and formatting to make sure it's useful to the board. So we'll be able to track that expenditure component in a comprehensive way.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so our first item, 9A in District 6. We have 3 bidders, with the lowest bid is Fisher Sand and Gravel Co., and the low bid was $25,252,525, and the state estimate is $29,961,540. That came up to the difference of $4,709,014, with a difference of 15.7% lower than the state estimate.
I apologize for interrupting. Just in the interest of time, and because I do believe that this has all been made public and the board has had access to this information, these are all recommended for award.
Yes.
And I would like to know if the board members have any questions on agenda items 9A through 9D.
Chair Daniels,
Yes, Board Member Searle.
I think I know where you're wanting to go with this. Would you like a motion for all 4 contracts at this time?
If that is the will of the board, yes.
All right. I think the information was presented in the and we have it in front of us, and I have no problem making a motion to approve contracts 9A through 9D.
Thank you. We have a motion, second by Board Member Elters. We'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Board Member Searle?
I vote aye.
Thank you. All right, we have passed all of agenda item 9 at this point. We made it easy. I hope we made it easier.
Yes, you have.
There's nothing like being called up at the last minute to present on numbers. So,
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate your work as well. Sounds like Greg can't do his job without you, which I love.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item 10, suggestions for future board items.
Madam Chair, I think I already made one.
Yes, I think we do have one for our study session
Yes, ma'am. we do.
upcoming on
We'll work on getting
347
something
specifically.
scheduled. We'll put together some optional dates, send it out to the board members and see what we can get all of you together.
Terrific, thank you for doing that, Floyd. I also have, I anticipate that there's going to be quite a few upset people at the airports of Arizona come May 16th if they do not have their travel ID ready. I know that it feels for all of us, because we live in this world, that we've hammered it and communicated as much as possible, but I would like us to maybe continue to extend that effort and perhaps, and I don't know if this is an option or not, but work with our airports to perhaps have an option at the airport to secure a travel ID, temporary MVD offices, something of that sort. I do anticipate there will be some very upset people that are not able to get through security without that travel ID, and it could cause, I anticipate it will cause some national challenges, but it'd be great if Arizona was leading out on some options. So I just ask that ADOT explore that idea to see if that's an option or if there is a potential solution there. Board Member Pashamay?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you for that great idea. And I would also suggest putting it on the those computerized road signs, because everybody goes under one of those somewhere in Arizona. Thank you.
I know we have a great communications team at ADOT that does really good work, and so just sort of flagging this is we may have some unruly and very upset people at airports, I anticipate across the country, but if there's anything Arizona can do to be the model for how to handle it, I'd love to see us explore those ideas. Thanks, Floyd. We gave you all the hard ones today.
They're not hard.
Madam Chair, please, I just want to get this off my chest. I'm one of those people that needs to get it done, and I've been scratching my head going, how do I do this? So I might need Floyd's direct help. Or director call.
There's a great resource on the MVD website, and it tells you right on the homepage. It's the first button. You can't miss it. I actually looked earlier today.
Not only that, but go to your MVD office. They will walk you through it step by step by step.
Okay.
Do not hesitate to go there, because they are prepared. We've wrapped up. We've actually tried to bring in more staff, knowing there's going to be a big push. And we've reached out and worked with all the airports. Go to your MVD office. That's the best thing I can advise you.
I will do that. And I hope everybody that is watching this great televised,
all 12
recorded,
take note.
Madam Chair, really just to enforce what Floyd just said, the report I got from office staff, 2 people 2 weeks ago, was they made an appointment, it was easy, they went in, 5-minute wait, they were very helpful, got it done, and they were back. So go for it.
And Member Peshklag, don't worry, you're not the only one on this board that doesn't have one yet. But I've got a military ID still, so I don't have to do it. And Madam Chair, if I could just take one moment, this is tournament season, so I can't let it go without saying 2 words: bear down.
I'm sure there's opposing views in the room, and I would like it to.
Actually, I think that was a motion, and
I was going to say that is not a board decision.
We did an agenda that I'm sorry, we can't take action on.
Yeah, we're off. Yes, we're definitely off topic. Thank you all for attending. Please be safe today and keep our staff and everyone else in your prayers. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.